The quiet of Albuquerque, New Mexico was shattered by the harsh glare of flashing emergency lights. In the early hours of February 9, 2025, a fire had erupted at the Tesla Albuquerque showroom. Not just a simple fire, but a calculated act of arson that left 2 Tesla vehicles charred, one significantly damaged. This wasn't a random act of vandalism. The scene was marked by disturbing graffiti, Die Elon, Tesla Nazi Inc., and the chilling symbol of the swastika. These weren't the scribblings of petty criminals, they were the markings of someone driven by intense, perhaps even violent, ideology. As local firefighters battled the flames, federal investigators from the FBI and the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives, ATF, were already piecing together the puzzle. The discovery of an improvised incendiary device, later identified as containing a form of napalm, sent a clear message. This was a deliberate act of domestic terrorism. The fact that the Tesla location was targeted brought with it the extra layer of complexity due to the current political climate and Elon Musk's position within the Trump administration. This added fuel to the fire of the investigators. Surveillance footage became a key tool. The digital eyes captured images of a lone figure, a tall, light-skinned individual, cloaked in black, carrying a white box. This individual was the focus of the early investigation. The vehicle that the individual used was also captured and was identified as a white 2015 Hyundai Accent. The FBI, under Director Kash Patel, began to connect the dots. This was not an isolated incident. Tesla facilities across the nation had become targets, symbols of a growing political divide. The message was clear. This was a targeted attack. The FBI's investigation quickly expanded beyond the physical evidence. The graffiti, the incendiary device, the targeted nature of the attack all pointed to a deeper, more sinister motive. The Bureau began to delve into the world of online extremism, a breeding ground for radical ideologies. Social media platforms became a vital source of information. Investigators sifted through countless posts, messages, and online forums searching for any connection to the Albuquerque arson. They looked for keywords, symbols, and language that matched the graffiti found at the crime scene. They discovered a network of online communities where anti-establishment rhetoric and conspiracy theories thrived. These groups often targeted prominent figures, including Elon Musk, whom they viewed as a symbol of corporate power and a perceived enemy of their cause. The online chatter was a hotbed of anti-government and anti-corporate rhetoric. The investigators found that the individual was likely part of a larger group of individuals with similar views and that they had been planning attacks on Tesla facilities for months. The online communications were filled with hate speech and calls for violence. The FBI's Behavioral Analysis Unit (BU) was brought in to create a psychological profile of the suspect. They analyzed the suspect's actions, the choice of targets, and the symbolism used in the graffiti. The profile painted a picture of an individual driven by a potent mix of political rage and a deep-seated sense of grievance. The digital footprint left by the suspect led investigators to a series of encrypted messaging apps. The suspect and their associates used these apps to communicate and plan their attacks. The FBI's cyber division worked tirelessly to break the encryption and gain access to these communications. The investigation was now a race against time. The FBI knew that the suspect and their associates were planning more attacks. They had to act quickly to prevent further violence. The white 2015 Hyundai Accent, captured on the surveillance footage, became a crucial lead. Investigators traced the vehicle's registration, leading them to a small apartment in a less affluent part of Albuquerque. This was the residence of a 32-year-old man named Samuel J. Holt. Holt's online presence painted a disturbing picture. His social media accounts were filled with vitriolic posts against corporations, the government, and prominent figures like Elon Musk. He frequently shared conspiracy theories and engaged in online discussions with individuals who espoused extremist ideologies. A search of Holt's apartment revealed a trove of evidence. Investigators found materials used to construct incendiary devices, including remnants of napalm. They also discovered handwritten notes containing plans for further attacks on Tesla facilities. The digital evidence was equally damning. Holt's computer contained files with detailed maps of Tesla locations across the country, along with encrypted communications with other individuals who shared his extremist views. The FBI's cyber division finally managed to break the encryption on the messaging apps that Holt and his associates used. The decrypted messages revealed a network of individuals, spread across several states, who were planning coordinated attacks. The investigation showed that Holt had been in contact with several individuals that shared his extremist views. These individuals were part of a larger group that called themselves the Disruptors. This group believed that corporations and the government were corrupt and that they needed to be overthrown. The FBI began to track the movements of these individuals. They discovered that they had been meeting in secret and that they were planning to carry out attacks on Tesla facilities and other targets. The FBI knew that they had to act quickly to prevent these attacks. With the evidence mounting, the FBI moved swiftly. Samuel J. Holt was apprehended without incident. The arrest was only the beginning. The decrypted messages revealed a network of co-conspirators spread across several states. Simultaneous raids were conducted in California, Texas, and Arizona. The operation was a carefully coordinated effort involving multiple FBI field offices and local law enforcement agencies. The goal was to dismantle the entire network and prevent any further attacks. The raids yielded a wealth of evidence. Investigators seized weapons, explosives, and electronic devices containing detailed plans for future acts of arson and sabotage. The documents showed that the group had been planning to attack power grids, communication towers, and other critical infrastructure. The FBI's investigation revealed that the Disruptors were not just a group of online extremists. They were a well-organized network with a clear hierarchy and a sophisticated understanding of operational security. They used encrypted communication channels and they had a system of couriers to transport materials. The investigation also revealed that the group had been receiving financial support from unknown sources. The FBI's Financial Crimes Unit began to trace the flow of money and they discovered that the group had been receiving donations from individuals and organizations that shared their extremist views. The evidence gathered painted a chilling picture of a domestic terror plot with the potential to cause widespread disruption and harm. The FBI, under Director Kash Patel, was determined to bring every member of this network to justice. The press conferences began. The FBI and the ATF held multiple press conferences to update the public on the investigation. They released images of the suspect and the evidence that had been gathered. They also released information about the group and their plans. The press conferences were broadcast live on national television and they were covered extensively by the media. In a televised address from FBI headquarters in Washington, D.C., Director Kash Patel announced the arrests of Samuel J. Holt and 7 other individuals connected to the Disruptors network. He detailed the evidence uncovered, highlighting the meticulous planning and the dangerous nature of the group's intentions. Director Patel emphasized that this was not just an attack on a corporation but an act of domestic terrorism aimed at undermining American society and sowing discord. He praised the swift and coordinated efforts of the FBI, the ATF, and local law enforcement in bringing the perpetrators to justice. The arrests sent shockwaves across the nation. The news dominated headlines, sparking intense discussions about the rise of extremism and the challenges faced by law enforcement in combating online radicalization. Security at critical infrastructure sites was immediately heightened across the country. The legal process began swiftly. Samuel J. Holt and his co-conspirators faced a range of federal charges, including arson, conspiracy to commit terrorism, and weapons violations. The evidence against them was substantial and the FBI was confident in securing convictions. The investigation continued even after the initial arrests. The FBI was determined to uncover the full extent of the Disruptors network, identify any other individuals involved, and understand the source of their funding and ideological influences. The Tesla Albuquerque showroom was rebuilt, a symbol of resilience in the face of hate. However, the incident served as a stark reminder of the ever-present threat of domestic extremism and the importance of vigilance in safeguarding American communities. In the weeks and months that followed, the story of the Tesla arson attack and the dismantling of the Disruptors network became a cautionary tale, highlighting the dangers of online radicalization and the need for continued efforts to combat extremist ideologies in all their forms. The nation grappled with the underlying issues that fueled such hatred and violence, prompting discussions about social division, political polarization, and the responsibility of online platforms in moderating harmful content. The FBI, under Director Patel's continued leadership, vowed to remain vigilant in the fight against domestic terrorism, ensuring that such acts of violence would not go unpunished and that the safety and security of the American people remained their top priority.